The Motorola Moto E when came out last year almost started a revolution in the a way that it brought out very decent spec sheet and stock Android for a very aggressive pricing, and it almost instantly became a poor man's Nexus. If you could not afford the Nexus, you could just get the Moto E or the Moto G for that matter, because this guy sported the latest stock Android that time, KitKat. We have the Moto E second generation now, which was just released, and it also sports the latest Android, that's Lollipop Android 5.x. This one also has the stock Android, and it also is decently spec, but the waters are not that trouble free like last year anymore. It has lots of competitions here. Does it have the firepower to get over the competition and give you the absolute best at this price range? We find out. The Moto E second generation also comes in that same good looking compact box. And once you open the very thick cardboard box, on top, as usual, you would find the phone. And once you go farther in, you will find the 550 mAh or 550 milliampere wall charger. That's pretty less output, I guess. And then you have a fairly decent pair of earphones with the with no volume control, but only the call and the mic. It also has a silver audio jack, and then at the bottom you'll find the manuals, usual the warranty cards and the service guides and stuff. So that's about it. That's about in the box. So that's the second generation Moto E. There you see, we have the white model, you get the white and the black model. Now first thing first, this is not classy. Now if you want to show off your phone, this might not be your first choice, but the Moto E excels in another area very well, which is the durability and that solid feel. Now this is a pure solid block of brick. You cannot open the back flap now. You only can open the ring here, the side ring, and you can actually wear different colors of ring around here. So this whole thing feels very compact and solid and durable at the same time. What that means is that at generally when you buy a device at this price point, you intend to use it every day. You intend to abuse it, whatever the weather may be, and the phone at this price point should have the capability to withstand all of those. And the Moto, it definitely looks like having all those features. It's very it's not the lightest device in the market, mind you. It's just over 140 grams. It's also not the thinnest, definitely did not intend to. Over 12 of thickness, but and it's also a small device, 4.5 inch screen. It fits very nicely into hand, but it's a real solid device, man. So you have that 4.5 inch screen. It's protected by Gorilla Glass. It's an IPS screen. Has a resolution of 540 by 960 pixels. Not much, but it's not going to look very pixelated on a 4.5 inch screen. It also has an oleophobic coating, which means water repellent. Now it's designed to repel small water drops, maybe rain or so, but you cannot immerse it into the water for too long. On top of that, you have the speaker and the earpiece hidden in the same block, and then you have your VGA front camera, notification LED lights and sensors, and it has the usual ports. Nothing much on the left side. Below you have the micro USB 2.0 port. On the right you have the volume rocker and the power button, and then on top the 3.5 jack. Behind you have the 5 MP camera, but now it's an autofocus camera. The first generation Moto E did not have an autofocus camera, and a lot of people criticized it for that. This one has an autofocus camera. It also has a nice round silver boundary there. I like that, but no LED flash, so your nighttime photographies could be a struggle. We'll talk about that. You have a noise cancelling mic there, the Motorola branding. Now, as I told you before, you cannot open the back flap. However, you can only take off the side ring, and all your SIM cards and micro SD cards will go on the sides. Yeah, and you cannot also remove the battery, which is a 2390 mAh battery, slightly more than the first generation. Actually, you'll find that even the hardware spec sheet and the features only seem decent enough at this price point. However, the USP of this device and the biggest selling point, which could alone be a deal maker or a deal breaker if you're trying to buy another phone, is Android Lollipop 5.0. This is the only device at this price point that runs the latest Android Lollipop 5.0, and not only that, it runs the stock Android. Can you beat that? The Nexus devices only run stock Android Lollipop, so this is one of those rare devices where you'll feel the absolute speed and the smoothness of Lollipop. And also remember, upgrading to Lollipop or having Lollipop is not like KitKat over Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean is 4.3, KitKat is 4.4. Lollipop is a major version, it's 5.0. So having Lollipop on your device, it's quite necessary, because Lollipop being a major version brings in so many new features. It's a total overhaul of the whole user interface, and I love this. I love the flat design. It's speedier, it's amazing, and there are so many new things that Lollipop brings in terms of compatibility with the peripherals. For just for an example, it brings in raw support in your camera. It only exposes the API. I think they yet to make a camera F for that, but it actually brings in those kind of possibilities. So Lollipop is absolutely necessary, I think, at whatever price point. And if your device at this price point comes out of the box in Lollipop, and that to stock, well, that's amazing. Now, I'm not gonna go too deep into Lollipop. You must have already seen 1,000 videos on how Lollipop looks like and all. It's very, very smooth, buttery. They have changed everything, and the whole interfaces you would see is flat colored, and so you do not have very strong background or very 3D kind of an effect. You see flat colors, if you know what I mean. Also, things are mostly based in cards, so if you just pull down the notification, you see everything is just like cards, just like a Google now. So very, very smooth. And you also have the project Butter, which makes sure that all the animations and transactions happen at almost the same speed, so that your experience does not break. It also comes with an updated Chrome browser that has 493 out of 555 score, which is great. And the dialers and the messaging, the keyboards, everything are stock Lollipop. Of course, you can add your third-party favorite keyboards if you want. You also have the Google, OK Google dialog on top. Well, let's go to the camera and see how it looks. The 5MP camera is now autofocus, and you can, like all Moto camera, you can simply drag the exposure and the focus ring there to correct both. You cannot separate them, mind you. You can only drag it to the point of which you want to correct the exposure of, or you want to focus it, and then you can just tap on the screen to take it. It's the usual UI, nothing much stuff. A video and front camera, that's just about good enough. The VGA, we were pleasantly surprised by the photo and video quality. It's a 5MP camera only, but we saw a fair amount of details and absolutely natural color rendition on the images as well as on the videos, specifically under enough light. Under low light, the details drop down significantly, mainly because it's a very, very small sensor, phone sensor after all. But also it does not have LED flash, so even if you're taking a portrait, let's say in a party, that could be a problem because you cannot fire the LED even at an angle. We're talking about under enough light. Again, the details are there. Even at 100%, the saturation and hue are proper, and the color renditions are amazing. They are absolutely natural. They're not overdoing the red and the pink palette and the blue palette in particular, which we've seen so commonly being oversaturated in some of the other phones. and videos are sharp enough. There's no fuzziness even on the corners. You will see there a slightly lack of detail, mainly because of the default metering. The default metering is an average metering, so if you have many darker blocks in between, then your photo or your video might come darker, but you always have the option of exposure correcting that. So the speaker output is good, it's loud enough, it also has a decent amount of bass. However, at full volume, it slightly crackles. We also did some benchmarking tests like Antutu and Velamo and 3D Mark, etc. Most of all, it's scored below average really. In Antutu, it's scored at the bottom below Mi 2 and Zenfone 5 and Redmi Note. And also almost the same case in Velamo, all the scores, multi-core, metal and browser scores. In 3D Mark scored 2311 and max goes over 10,000, so again they're also pretty low. Basemark X again very low, and then Basemark 2 443, which is again the maximum scores are 2000, so below average benchmark score really. We also tried playing some game. We tested some very demanding game. It could play those games fairly decently. It actually lagged at times, so skip the frames at times, but that did not harm our gameplay, and we could ultimately play all those games very comfortably. But still, it's actually a commendable effort for such an entry level chipset and processor and GPU to be able to play those demanding games like Modern Combat 5 and NFS Most Wanted and such. So then, are we getting the Moto E second generation 2015? Lollipop alone could be a deal maker if you have, if you want to lean towards the Moto E, because it's very durable device. Number one, comes with Lollipop, the latest major version of Android, and that too stock. And number three, it has a very good camera, good sound output as well. So all those combined, you get total worth of your money of your 7,000. But then the competition is heating up, and you have lots of other devices to compete against, like for example the Redmi 2 and the Lenovo A6000, which are exactly the same price. There are a few devices like the Eureka which are slightly more expensive than that, but not out of the budget of the person who has a 7,000 budget. If I want to buy this one, I would buy for mainly two reasons, not three reasons maybe. One is the durability. It's a solid block of device, you can throw it anywhere and it's not gonna budge. Number two is the camera quality. At this price point, it's very hard to get a camera quality of this sort. And number three, and the biggest of them, is Android 5.0. Lollipop is an absolutely breeze as far as user interface experience goes. If you like this video, please hit the like button, ask anything related to this phone, and we'll try to answer them all. And please subscribe. Also share this video to share the love. Thank you. Ciao.